Is your sales team the bane in your life? Are you spending thousands on ad spend and the sales team is pissing it down the drain because of their bad performance? Appointments not showing up, they're not closing them, the culture in the office is bad, you don't know what to do, you're stuck. This video is going to break down everything that you need to do on a tactical level to fix this for you. Now, why are we going to make this video and who am I? The reason why I've made this video is most of the business owners that we work with who are 7 and 8 figure business owners tell us our CAC is continuously going up if we don't fix our sales. So when they come to us, the first thing that we do is we aim towards getting their CAC down by fixing their sales process and sales team. By us simply doing those things, we increase their revenue, decrease the amount of money that they're putting into ads because their ads are either more effective for the money they're putting in, or they just acquire customers for far cheaper, making them more profitable. Now, who am I? My name is Usman Keani. I have a company called Guided Growth. We're a sales consulting business here in the UK, and we work with 7 and 8 figure businesses to help them grow, build, and train their sales teams. Now, I've been in sales for over 12 years in sales management and sales leadership for half of that time. And I've made it my mission to change the way salespeople and sales leaders are seen because of the way I was treated as a salesperson, being incredibly successful, but still being a part of bad culture, bad sales tactics, and bad leadership. But now I'm going to break down exactly what you should do in your business. Step number 1 is all about the closing ratio. Closing ratio is one of the most important metrics in sales, but most people don't know how to fix it because they don't know how to get their sales team to improve it. You walk in, you see your closing ratio is 15, 16, 17%, maybe 20%, and you know it should be at 30 off the cold ads. You know that it should be maybe even getting to 35%. But why is it that your team is closing at such a low percentage? Well, it could be many different contributing factors, but we're going to break down on what they could be and how to fix them. So I'm going to break down the closing ratio in 5 different areas to give you the 5 tactics that you can use to improve the close ratio. Now, number 1 is the pain points. Most of the salespeople, when you listen back to the calls, they're not going deep enough on the pain points, which hurts them later on to the call when they're trying to close. We think that they're finding everything out. We listen to the sales call and we think, yeah, they know exactly what they want. They know their goal. But what they missed was a deeper pain point. And when we don't collect it, similar to your marketing on how you can express the pain points in your landing pages and your website, if you don't get your salespeople to really get deep onto the sales call, they're really going to struggle on the back end of the call when it comes to objection handling, when it comes to extracting the sale at the end of that call. Now, the main way how we do this is we teach the golden circle. In the golden circle, it's all about finding the why, the deeper why that you'd have a salesperson find out on the call. The main way that your salespeople should be actually finding this out is by asking the prospects how and asking them to tell them more, give us more information. So an example, so how are you planning on hitting your goals with XYZ? Okay, and can you tell me a bit more about that? Is that quite important to you? Now, we've not said why is that important because we tend to find on sales calls, if we ask the word why, most people think, oh, he's trying to find why is it so important so you can use it against me. Sales resistance goes up and it truly affects them on the call. What we tend to find is if we ask it in an intelligent way, we can often find out the why and get multiple pain points on the call. What I try to train sales teams to do is to find up to 3 pain points on every single call. A skilled salesperson can find 3. An amateur will struggle to find 1. So when we listen to sales teams and sales calls, we tend to find that the amateur salespeople, the people who aren't trained, the people who aren't killers are on the call and they're barely finding even 1 core problem, 1 pain point. But what we will do is we will go super deep and find out up to 3 pain points. And this is how we're able to drill and train sales teams to go so deep and find the core why. Then later on in the call, when objection handlings come up, when any part of the call, the customer's not ready to go ahead with it, we can use the pain points and we can use their own goals and why towards actually closing that sale rather than doing fake urgency. Most amateur salespeople will say things like, well, if you sign up today, we'll give you a discount. If you don't sign up today, the price goes up tomorrow. Now, I'll be honest, when I was first working in sales, They were the tactics that I used as well, but I quickly realized it was not the optimal way of selling, and the more sophisticated customer just does not appreciate those tactics. Like, we sell to business owners who are multimillionaires, 7 and 8 figure businesses. Imagine that we get on the phone with them and we say, well, if you decide right now, we'll give you a discount. Well, our sales services will just not get sold. We will not find the right customer. We will not attract the right people. So we make sure that we sell with integrity. We sell with empathy. We sell based on what their goals are. So that's the same way we tend to teach it. And that is the main component of this, going super deep on actually finding the pain points. When you truly find the pain points, you're going to find simply your close rate goes higher. Not even by using the tactics on bringing pain points back, asking the feedback questions, objection handling. All those tactics can come later. But simply by talking about the why, by getting the depth on the call, you tend to find that the prospect has brought their emotions to the surface level, which allows them to make a logical decision on, this is the right thing for me. And that will simply increase the closing ratio. Now, the next thing is going to be about objection handling. So the second thing regarding the close ratio is all about objection handling. Now, if objection handling is an issue in your business, most businesses have it simply because they don't write down the objections. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to ask your sales reps to write down every objection that they get throughout the week. They'll just put it in a notepad. In your weekly training that you're going to do, which you should be doing a weekly training for your team in depth and a daily training, but the weekly longer session, what I will do is I will get all of their objections that they've had in the previous week, and I would find out, is there a trend? And I would list the top 5. So I'm finding the top 5 objections that the team have had. Then what I'm doing is I'm actually going through and drilling those top 5 objections again and again until it's just like butter, where we can actually flow through the objections and handle them a lot easier. Now, these aren't like the American way of handling objections where someone says, hey, I'm not ready right now, and you'll reply, why are you not ready? If you are truly motivated, you want to do it now. Now, that's not how we handle objections. The best way is to use a framework where we acknowledge, we clarify, and then we problem solve with them. So if someone says, I'm not really sure, I want to think about it, I think it might be too expensive for me, we first say, great, not a problem. It is a big investment for you, and it's also important. Is it because the investment, or are you not fully sure? Just to clarify, are you fully sure on everything, and it's just the money? Because once you do that, you clarify if it's the money or if it's that they're not sure. And once you do that, you can move towards tackling that one issue. And then you can use a framework towards, what about it are you not sure about? Or what about it is the investment that's so high for you? Because if you've done the value stack properly, and if you've price presented properly, and you've got the pain points, the price will never seem as high because the value to price discrepancy is so far apart. You're giving so much more value away. So what you tend to find is the price only becomes a factor when the value is not there. Or most of the time, 90% of the time, the objection around money is all because they're not sure. So simply by clarifying, is it because you're not sure, or is it because of the money? Most of the time we'll say, well, what it is, and you'll find out it's because they're not sure, they're uncertain about the product, they don't trust it would work, or they're not fully sure that it would work for them. But either way, you're going to be able to drill these objections, money, partner, and uncertainty. And by drilling these objections over and over again, you're going to find that the close ratio improves. So the first part of this was all about actually doing the pain points. The next part is objection handling. And both of these are down to you to train. Now, the third piece is also about you training, which is around business owners making the script too rigid. If the script is too rigid, you tend to find that the salespeople can't maneuver through the call the way they need, because as pain points come up, the call needs to be flexible enough to allow them to deep dive in that specific pain point. If the script is so rigid, and you tend to find a lot of sales managers, sales leaders, CEOs and founders telling their salespeople, simply because they don't know how to train them, just stick to the script, say what's on the script. You tend to find when issues come up on a call, for example, the client prospect shares something that they're truly struggling with, a big barrier that they've had in their life, and the script just wants them to progress forward, the salesperson can't share through empathy and deep dive enough on that point to make it feel like a human approach. Because you want to be able to feel their pain and understand them. And you want to share that empathy that, hey, I really feel for you that that's been happening, and then winding that back to their pain points. But when the script is so rigid, you can't do that. When the script is rigid, you're always progressing forward, because the way a lot of these 80s and 90s scripts are written and the old-fashioned American way of scripts are written, it's always that old method of ABC, always be closing, where they're constantly moving towards a close towards the end of the call. And by making the script very progressive in a way where it's just moving them towards a close, you tend to find that it hurts the sale. Because the way we used to sell off the back of scripts a long time ago is different now, because look at the amount of people that are seeing ads. Look at the amount of people that are watching ads on Netflix, on their phone, on Google, on YouTube, or everywhere you go, you're watching some sort of ad you're being sold to. Your back's up against the wall as a prospect, because you just constantly feel bombarded and sold to. So you're really defensive when it comes to buying. Therefore, you have to be able to sell the right way. And that a lot of the times doesn't sound so scripted. It sounds like a human approach. This is why we give a framework which is all about asking their situation, asking what solutions that they've explored, and then asking them the cost of inaction before moving towards the promise and the pitch. And by structuring our sales calls for our sales reps that we train for large teams, we can yield better results. We tend to yield better results just because the training's far more detailed. And then when we combine that with what we teach for the sales managers with these tactics, we find like a really inclusive approach to a sales team, which can be high performance, which is lead to a better close ratio, and other areas that we'll be covering in this video. So the next thing is all about the script, how not going so deep on the script and not sticking to it all the time. You want to have an outline. How I see a script is more as guardrails. I see the script as like the rails that I need to stick through to be able to progress and move the sale forward. I don't see it as word for word, I need to be saying these things to continuously move ahead. The script should be more of a framework rather than word for word what to say. When you do have a salesperson in the beginning, you do give them a sales script which is super in-depth, super detailed, because they need a lot more hand-holding. But just like a tricycle, you take the wheels away. You'll say, now try your style. And they hone in their style. Any good salesperson is able to kind of find their own style over time. And they're only able to do that when you actually give them the freedom to. So there's a time as a manager, CEO, and founder, you can pull that script away from them and say, how would you sell it? And what would be the best method that you think? Number 4 is all about how you're training them. So the close ratio, the first 3 points were all around them doing a certain tactic, finding pain points, objection handling. And the 4th tactic is all about how you actually need to do regular training. The training that we do is we are kind of put into 2 different buckets. One is all about like motivation, inspiration, and connection. And the next part of training is all around drills, tactics, what they should be saying, and script. Now, if the first one you're doing and it's pretty much, most people don't know how to drive performance through a team. And the number one way how you drive performance through a team, which is going to be covered later on when we cover a whole section on this, is going to be super in-depth with how you actually lead from the front. You are that person that they go to, that they see, that is actually training them, that you can also be confident enough to train them. When we find that we have sales managers that are unable to train the team, we tend to find a big deficiency in the sales team, because whatever the sales manager usually closes at, although the sales manager does not need to be an amazing salesperson, it's a very people-driven job. If the salesperson can't jump onto the phone and close, we tend to find the sales team will also struggle. We've seen studies where the sales manager is closing at 20% and the sales reps are just closing at percentages under them. And it tends to be a trend. You do find often cases where you have a sales manager who's incredibly people-driven and sales directors are people-driven. But there's a big difference where they can actually sell. They know when to sell. They know when to lead from the front. They can just jump in and take a call for a sales rep. So that's why it's all about the training that they receive. So the one is all about the example that you set for them, but the training has to be broken down with you actually doing role plays, by you doing drills with them, whether it's the beginning of the day or end of day meetings. Beginning of the every day, you should be having like a regular training that you're actually going through with them every single time. And when they go into that training, you're going to find that they actually start to understand what needs to be done on that call, how it needs to be said on that call, what mistakes they're making. Because until we review poor performance, it's hard to see it. It's an easy example when you think of football. How many good footballers will review past game tape, will look at their bad pass, their bad tackle, their bad assist, or they could have done better with the goal. So if we don't review, it's very hard to improve. So that's like a big component of it, being able to train your team and knowing how to train them. And a big component of that is actually doing the drills, doing role plays, and I even do the objection handling drills from that I explained in step 2. And now the 5th thing on improving your close ratio is all around, do the sales team actually want to be there? Do they believe in the product? Belief is such a big component in sales, because if your belief is not there and you don't believe in such a high amount that you know that they need this product, they need this service to the people that are calling, the close ratio is always affected, because you can hear the tonality in the salespeople. When I hear a sales call, the first thing I'm listening to is not the script. It's how does the salesperson sound? Are they like just completely just tired on the phone? Or are they stood up? Are they proud? Is their chest out? Are they saying it with their heart and explaining that they definitely need this product and that's how it's going to change their life? Do they explain, hey, we've seen other people change their life with this is what they did? The belief carries over in their voice. And if the belief is in the voice, you're going to find salespeople will be able to sell far easier. They don't even need to be as skilled if their belief is high, simply because they know exactly what to say. They know exactly when to say it. But their tonality allows them to say every one of those words with far more detail. Now, this is just part 1 of how to manage a bad sales team's performance. In the next video, I'm going to be covering everything to do with show ratio. I'm going to go super in depth on show ratio, showing you how to improve it. So catch you on the next video, where it's going to be a part 2 on this 3-part series on how to improve a sales team's bad performance. If you like this channel, if you like the videos, subscribe, comment. I'll catch you on the next one.